Fitness Pro Mentor community, welcome to another masterclass. Really excited about this one. Over the last little while, our Fitness Pro Mentorship has been helping trainers just like you reach brand new levels of their business. Lots of trainers hitting their first 10K month, making their first hires. I'm absolutely loving it. And we've changed our format so we get more time with you for frankly the same price. And we're finding that this increased length of time and this consulting capacity and mentorship has just been game changing. But one of the things that has consistently popped up is, Brandon, I am now getting new leads. We are getting busier. My sales are improving, but how do I make sure I keep these people? And it's a fantastic question. Truthfully, if you have a personal training business and you acquire, let's say 4 new clients per month on the very low end, 1 client per week, but you lose 2. That means that every month when you get 4 new clients, if you can maintain that consistent trend each month as an individual trainer, which is good, 2 of those are just replenishing the lost business. So you are still 50% ahead with those 2 leads from the month prior, but then that starts to slowly build up, which is great. But what if we didn't have those leads disappear? And there's some really interesting things that we've been doing here at Strata that has increased our churn rate. Truthfully, most personal trainers, one-on-one personal trainers that are making over $60,000 a year have an average churn rate of 9 months. 9 months, client churn rate. So that means at the end of 9 months, clients typically leave. So that's fine, but it's important to understand that. At Strata, like personally, my churn rate based off of all the clients I currently have, and if I take out the clients that have only been with me for 2 months, just as outliers, my average client relationship length is 4 years. 4 years. Now, truthfully, I have a bunch of clients that have been with me for 10 years and some that have been with me a couple, so that's what brings that number down, but that's a big difference. And what's nice about that is I don't have to acquire new clients all the time. So there's a few things that I have personally done and we have been teaching within our mentorship to really help make sure that you have all the tools you possibly need to make sure this value retention curve stays high. So what I have here is a very simple infographic that has been used in our mentorship, and I thought it would be a really simple thing for you to check out that could be really, really helpful. Right behind me, it says value retention curve. So let's just get me off the screen in this. We can go right there. Perfect. So we have this value retention curve. And the reason why I have this is if you see this big plumb line right here, above it, it says active customers and inactive customers. Now, this is assuming that you have someone that's joined your world, but the reason why I have this line here is that if we look at the top of the page, being very happy, high value perception, a client sees you as extremely valued. If we go to the bottom of the page means that the client perceives you with almost no value, low value, and they're not seeing you. There is a plumb line of value. There's this line right in the middle, and if you're above that line, that means you have a customer who is active and they see you, they are happy, and they are giving you money for your time, and they are getting something for their time. And below that line, there is the inactive line, and that means that customer is not giving you money. And here's this kind of interesting idea. How many of you have sat down with a client, the energy's been high, they've been super excited, you presented very high level academic information, they were excited that their objectives were going to be met and your knowledge was going to take them there. It felt like the relationship was going to go on forever, and then you work with them for a few months and then that energy just kind of sizzles out and you don't know how to bring that energy back. Truthfully, very common. And if you're an adequate salesperson, you are going to have an incredible amount of hype at the very beginning of that relationship, because when you connect with someone, you do a demo, you do a sales consultation, an assessment, education-based close, whatever your process is, the energy is high. It's just like when you buy a car for the first time, right? The first day you peel off the dealership when you got your 2018 Silverado, that's my truck, and you pull it off and you're like, this thing is amazing. I love driving this. I want to just drive it around for fun. And then all of a sudden it becomes a tool and you don't get in it just for fun. And then there's a point where you're like, I kind of want something new. There's this perceived value at the very beginning of acquiring something, and then it slowly drops off over time. Truthfully, if my truck continued to have brand new features that would pop up or things that kept me excited, it would keep my energy high and I might not ever buy a new truck. But truthfully, most of those companies want you to buy a new vehicle because that's how they make more money, which is a sales cycle. But besides that, we have this initial sale, and we have our first fulfillment, and you got this big black curve here, and that curve represents the heightened energy. Someone buys something from you, they are excited, they start working with you, and then here's what happens. This first line, you see how this big black line drops all the way down below the plumb line to inactive customers? This is a mistake that I made. I accidentally used to choke the placeholder puppy. What does that mean? Well, I would get a client, I'd put them on my schedule once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, and I'd go, boom, they're coming Mondays at 10 o'clock, Thursdays at 10 o'clock. That is X number of dollars per month. Great. Next client, please. And that client would be in my schedule, and I would do nothing. I would work hard, and I would work hard in those sessions, but truthfully, there was never a reassessment. There was never a conversation how things were going. There was never any new value that was added to the session. It was me doing what I do in my sessions, and that is still pretty good. But my clients got used to the 2018 Silverado. They got used to the Brandon experience. And what would start to happen slowly is, no matter what we talked about in the initial relationship, clients slowly started to disappear. And truthfully, what we need to do, just like I talked about with the car, is consistently be offering new value, new information, and reassess the relationship so we can reassert our value into our client's world. Without that, we're going to have this plum curve that's going to drop right down below our perceived value, somewhere beneath where our fulfillment and their fundamental objectives are just not being met or barely being met, which turns into an inactive customer. And we need to think about, well, how do we resell people? How do we re-educate customers so they get excited about the thing that they're involved with? Now, here's the really, really great thing about this. Is it's actually not that difficult, especially if you are a client-centric, data-driven trainer like we've talked about in Fitness Pro Mentors. You can figure out really incredible ways to collect qualitative and quantitative data for comparisons of where the body is today. Then you can also show over a period of time in the first sales cycle, 12 weeks, 24 weeks, whatever your cycle and progression model is, you can reconnect to them and make a scheduled plan like, hey, listen, client, we're going to sit down and we're going to perform a reassessment. And the truth is, the reassessment objective is to identify if the original plan and data that we collected, things are going the right direction. If they are or are not, we're going to sit down and we're going to spend some time figuring out what the most adequate step is for you. Now, here's what I love about reselling. You are like me. You consistently are learning brand new things. You're sitting there reviewing, thinking about incredible post-activation potentiation and duration of force development, practical exercise ideas while you're laying in bed. Aren't you like that? But if you're thinking about these new ideas, you're studying, you're spending money on these advanced level courses, and maybe when you started with this client 3 months ago, you now have some new information in the quote unquote resell, reconversation, you can actually have a really incredible opportunity to display information, new ideas, new explanations in a way that helps the client to understand new value. Now, I'm not telling you to sit down and give a Tom Purvis interpreted based RTS lecture. Hardly that. What I am telling you is if the client comes in and they have perhaps started to do a bunch of spinning, they bought a Peloton and they're doing tons and tons of spinning, and now some new problems have popped up. Or some of the original things that they're working towards have just not been resolved because now they've increased the amount of stress in their system from spinning. If that happens, now you can have an incredible conversation and talk about the Goldilocks zone and hormesis and potentially understanding how bones recover from stress over time and how skeletal muscle recovers from stress over time. And this is great because you might not have had this conversation in the resell, but now you get to do this, and you get to do it in a way that the client hears you and you can speak to their specific pain points and fundamental objectives. Do you remember there's this great quote, and I saw it was no pain, no pitch. If you have a client, they come in to sit down with you and they don't have a pain. I don't mean an actual pain like a hard pain, maybe it is, but an emotional pain or a reason why they're actually sitting in front of you. Why would they even consider spending hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on a service like yours? If they have a pain, then you have a pitch. But truthfully, as the relationship goes on, you need to identify, are there new pains? Is there still a pain? Is the same pain there? And can you still speak to that pain? Because honestly, long client relationships, sometimes the pains change. I got a client who was just here today, and he's experiencing a weird sensation in his knee. When he first came to see me, he had a back problem. We got that resolved. And then through a little bit of time, he's playing hockey, hurt his hip, hurt his other hip, hurt his knee, and hurt his other knee. And now we are 8 years later, and we're still working on different problems, but these problems are naturally developing because of just his osteoarthritic condition, and they're influencing his body in different ways. So we get to have great new conversations that help to reassert my value into his world. Truthfully, these value curves of excitement, fulfillment, and start to drop off will happen in your client relationships forever. the distance in between the sale, resell, and the fulfillment and the retention resell strategy, if you will, it might be 6 weeks, 12 weeks, could be even a year in some of these longer term client relationships. But what you do need to do is you do need to be collecting data. You do need to be making sure that as you're progressing through these relationships, you're assessing how things are going, both from the client experience, subjective experience, and your own experience, and be able to sit down and have a tactful, education-based, closed conversation to make sure that everybody's happy in the relationship. And this is where the relationships start to change. If you've watched our FIST formula video, you'll see that I have these staying strategies of how people stay in my relationship as a weekly client or a bi-weekly client or a monthly client based off of the original information. But no matter what, there is always an opportunity for me to reassess with my ultimate objective of trying to make sure everyone stays as an active customer. Yes, it's good for business. Yes, it's good to have reoccurring revenue. But more importantly, I know if clients stay with me objectively, I can do some really good things with them. I know I can help change their life. And clients that stick with me consistently do better than the clients that come and go, or come and then go and don't come back. So this is my value retention curve. The conversation we have in the mentorship is much more expansive than this, but I hope the last 10 minutes has been valuable for you. And truthfully, if you're losing clients, please visualize these curves, because I will tell you, sales cycles, if they are open-ended sales cycles without a definite end date or definite reassessment point, people drop off and disappear. The excitement disappears. Your job is to keep the excitement high. Remember I said my truck, and I said, man, my truck is getting less and less exciting, but there's a new truck. Well, here's the thing. The new truck is either you with new information or a brand new trainer or Peloton. Peloton and all these other giant companies who have millions of dollars or are competing against you are your competition. You need to provide personalized consulting level information. Anyway, everyone, this is Brandon from Fitness Pro Mentors. I'm very excited for the results that we're getting with our students. And I know that you as a trainer, high-level muscle system person, you can do some really incredible things. If you want to learn more about marketing strategies to increase the quality of your leads and the consistency of your leads so you can get to 10 to 20 client leads per month like me and many of our other clients, one of our guys has got an insane level of results. And if you want to know how you can make tens of thousands of dollars more per month and grow your team, please comment below. And if you're looking for more information around how you can look at your FIST formula and figure out which part of your business you need to work on next, comment consulting below, and I'll actually send you a personalized direct message with some information. But everyone, thank you so much for this retention value curve. Very exciting stuff. I'll see you real soon.